I have spent so much money on camera gear that I don't even use. Hey, what's up you guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Boston and I'm a music photographer based in Los Angeles, and I do videos on music photography and general photography stuff. Anyway, today's video is going to be on photography gear that I just don't use anymore, because I was thinking about this the other day and I have wasted so much money on gear that I just don't use. There's a lot of it, so we're just gonna get into this because I have a few things I'm like, if you're thinking about getting them, like, think it through, because I bought it, used it once, and now it just sits in a cabinet. So I'm gonna help you not do the same thing. So here we go. So the first thing is this thing. This stupid thing. There was like a time where I was going through and looking at all of the prisms and like glass orbs, and this was like all over Pinterest, and I thought it would be cool. I did a video on it trying to use it and trying to get a good shot out of it, and it just kind of sucked. So now it just sits in my drawer because it's so heavy and I don't know what to do with it. I'm never going to bring this to a show. I do have one of the glass prisms and I have brought that to a few shows. It's just not really my style, so I don't bring it. So anything like these like glass orbs or these prisms, it's a waste of time to me. It might be useful to you if that's part of your vibe, go for it. For me, waste money. So likewise, I also bought one of these guys. This is an Instax, the Fujifilm, that it's the cute little Polaroid. This was also something that was all over social media that everyone was so hyped about. And I got it because I was going to like take a few pictures of every session that I did and show those pictures or give those pictures to my models, whoever I was working with, so they had something to take home at the end of the day. I thought it was a cute idea. I don't use this. I barely remember to bring it to gigs. I barely remember to bring it when I'm shooting studio work. Even if I do bring it, it's just sitting out and I forget about it. I never pick it up to take the picture. And I feel like I sent some of these home with a model before and they were just like, oh, cool. Like that was it, because it's so out of style at this point. So anyway, kind of cute, just totally useless at this point, I feel like. Okay, next up, these things. These are macro tubes to take macro shots on regular lenses. Very cool concept if you do ring shots, if you want to do like very small like nature, like bugs and stuff. These are very cool. I don't do any of that. I don't know why I bought these. I think that I thought I was gonna get use out of these, like doing weddings and stuff. But even if I did a ton of weddings, I'm doing a ring shot once during a wedding. So I'm using it once every wedding. Cool idea. They just stay in my bag. I don't use them. They just waste space on a shelf. But if this is something that you're into and you want to do a whole bunch of that kind of shooting, go for it. These were actually pretty cheap. I think they were like 30 bucks. I think they're super cool. It's just, I don't do this. I don't do this type of photography, so I don't know why I bought these. Now, we're getting into the more expensive stuff. This is a Tokina 16 to 28 f2.8. I really just wish that I saved my money and bought the Nikon, I think it's a 14 to 24. I've heard great things about that lens. This one is pretty soft. It's cool for what it is. It is an autofocus lens, which is great. But at the same time, it's a little soft. It's a little too wide. So whenever I'm shooting something, if you're like even remotely near the edge, it like takes your face and like stretches it out so much. Like there's so much distortion on the edge that shooting like a whole stage gets kind of weird because people in the crowd look weird. It's just, to me, it's a little too wide. And also paired with the fact that I know that it's pretty soft, so I never want to bring it out when I'm with a client because I don't know if I'm going to get sharp images out of it. I don't know why I haven't sold this yet. I really should, but it just also sits on my shelf. Speaking of wide lenses that I don't use, I have this guy. This lens is really cool. I think it's really beautiful. It's actually a little bit wider from the other one that I showed you, which I think is kind of funny because I'm more partial to the 14 than I am to the 16, which I feel like the 16 is really wide, but I like using this one. It doesn't make any sense. I know that, but for whatever reason, I like using this one, so don't judge me. This, I think, is a cool lens. I have done portraits with it where like you're like a little tiny person because it's so wide, but it captures like a landscape really, really well. Really puts the focus on the person. The thing that I hate about it is it's a manual focus. I never shoot manual focus. My eyesight is not good. So even though I think it's sharp in camera, I take it home and it's never sharp. I just can't manual focus to save my life. I'm sorry guys, I just don't do it. I rely on my autofocus so much. And the only reason that I really don't shoot with this that much is, again, kind of like too wide. There is a lot of distortion when you get to the edges, which I struggle with. I only use it in specific scenarios, mostly if I'm in the middle of nowhere shooting like portraits, so it's like really shocking that you're in the middle. I think that's a cool look. I just don't use it that much. I did shoot a music video with this and it turned out really, really cool. But again, I don't do a lot of that. I do a lot of concerts and a lot of portrait work in studio, and this is just, it's too wide. I just can't do it. And last but not least, and also this might be a little controversial, the Sigma 24-70. So I bought this lens. I actually waited for this lens. This is the art version that came out a few years ago, and I waited for it because I was unhappy with other 24-70s on the market, and at the time I couldn't afford the Nikon version. I waited for the art to come out. I bought it. I was kind of happy with it. And then I started looking more into Nikon lenses, realizing that I could afford the Nikon version if I got one used. I bought the Nikon version, and I have never looked back. So this one actually has the stabilization, while my Nikon version does not, and that's why my Nikon version was so cheap. This one, I feel like, fails me when it comes to autofocus in really, really dark clubs. My Nikon, I can capture really dark shots and it's still pretty sharp. This one I felt like was just a little bit off and a little bit soft on the focus. And I've had a whole bunch of people tell me that it's not the lens, like the Sigma arts are great and everything, but I'm a firm believer in like having the Nikon to Nikon connection and using all native gear. That is why I stick to all Nikon lenses. Now, I get that not everyone can afford that. That's why I bought this originally, but I do regret it because now I have two 24-70s and this one just sits on my shelf. For someone that can't afford the Nikon, I think that this is a great option. I can't get into it. I can't do it. So that is it for you guys today. I just wanted to make this short and sweet because I was cleaning out my shelves the other day and I realized how much stuff I have that I don't use. Otherwise, I'd love to know what you guys have wasted money on because I feel like I'm definitely not alone in this boat. So tell me what you wasted money on when it comes to camera gear. And by the way, I put out new videos every Thursday. I took a few weeks off, but I am back and I will be posting every week. I also have a podcast called Taking Over the Photo Pit where I interview badass music photographers, so please check that out. That's on all streaming platforms under Taking Over the Photo Pit, and there's new episodes every Tuesday. And it is really hot right now and I'm sweating, so I'm gonna go. But thank you so much for watching and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!